everybody. Kate Paine here from Standing Out Online, and welcome to my live show with Coffee with Kate. I am super, super excited to have three very special guests and friends of mine, happy to say, on my show today. So welcome to, Jim, you can switch over. Thank you. Welcome to Sandra Yancey, the founder and CEO of eWomenNetwork, Kim Yancey, co-founder and president of eWomenNetwork, and Briana Dai, who is their daughter, for those of you who might be tuning in and don't know about the dynamic. And she is the vice president of digital innovation at eWomenNetwork. So we are here today to talk about succession planning. So at first, when I was trying to come up with the name, I'll give you a quick little secret. I actually called Tony and I'm like, I need help with the name. She's like, just say succession planning. I'm like, okay. So we decided to do succession planning, I think with visionary leaders or something like that. So we are going to hit the ground running. We've already got a few guests tuning in today, and you all know Vivian Villers, who's an eWomen Platinum member. And Diane Kelly's with us here, and then she already emailed me and said that this topic was near and dear to her heart. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Substack. Really appreciate it. So Sandra, we're going to start with you. So take us back to the beginning. And I know that eWomen started in 2000, right?
Right.
Right. And you're in your 26th year. So
yes.
that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
When did succession planning sort of first come into your thinking about this? Like, at what part did this start happening for you?
I think when I started getting AARP notices. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But it really kind of got me thinking, and shortly thereafter, interestingly enough, Briana had come into the business. I still wasn't thinking succession planning at the very beginning with Briana. I thought that she might come for a while, but maybe not stay, use it as because she had her own successful 6-figure business, and she had paid for and gone through one of my coaching programs, and she was, really on the cutting edge of a lot of the digital practices that were coming on board with the evolution of, the increased social media and digital marketing and all of that kind of thing. And I thought, I was actually losing somebody that was working for me and moving back to Spokane, Washington, where she was from, because her son had a child, and that will do that to a mother.
Yes.
So she was moving back, and Briana was actually officing out of our office, right? The offices we have now. We've been here for over 20 years, and we had a spare office. She was officing out of it, and I walked over to her and I said, "Hey, listen, I need to hire somebody." And Briana was like, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "Well, someone like you." I mean, but I really, at the time when I said that, I didn't think that she would be interested. She was the perfect kind of package of what I wanted, and I knew she was talking and working with a lot of people. She might know someone. And I don't know, Briana, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here. I think it was a couple of days maybe that you then called me and you said, "Hey, just checking."
You remember that day, Briana, when she came in? Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I remember it very clearly. And I remember, I don't know what it was. I think I was driving, I think a lot in the car. And I was just really thinking about the conversation and realizing, I think at that point with my current business that I was building out of their office, Whisper office, I kind of came to this like realization, like, oh my goodness, this is like a mini eWomenNetwork. This is a niched down eWomenNetwork. Like, and I'm doing it on my own, and maybe there could be the opportunity to just do this together. And in fact, this kind of sounds like it. So why not just join forces?
Wow.
Yeah.
So when would you say that was, Sandra?
It was about 7 years ago.
Oh, was it? So it was right before then she really officially kind of came on.
Oh, yeah. So I remember saying something to Kim about it, and then Kim was like,
"What were you like, Kim?"
Well,
let's hear it in your words.
We didn't have a great working history, he and I. Just to be clear. I said, we didn't have a great working history, you and I. To be
You know,
clear.
Kim had fired Briana already once.
I know, I think you talked about that in one of your podcast episodes. I mean, I've heard you talk about it from stage, but I think you did bring it up in your podcast too.
Listen, I needed to know that she was really serious about this. This was no joke. I mean, we can't even have a pretend conversation. Like my big thing was, why would you want to do this? Well, like, why would you do this? Because the work and commitment involved is going to have to like be there like Sandra and I, that kind of thing. And
so what was your answer, Briana, when he said, why do you want to do this? What did you, I mean,
I was like, no, I'm super clear. Like, this would be awesome. I think this would be really cool. And when I came in, it wasn't under the pretense of you're going to take over this one day. That was, and honestly, I think we've reflected on it. I don't think there was a clear, like, defining moment where we sat down and said, in 10 years, you're going to take over the business. It like kind of happened very organically, kind of in a weird way. And but yeah, now
that I think about it, it happened 10 years or so ago, I think.
Okay.
It's actually been a while.
Well, when I first met you, Sandra, and I had never heard of eWomen, it was back when I was still living in Vermont, and we were starting a brand new eWomen chapter there, and that was in like June of 2019. I heard you speak in Hartford, Connecticut, at the chapter there, and Michelle McGlade was the MD at the time, and we chatted with you afterwards. But Briana, you were there, and we met you. But I think you also had shared, Sandra, with the crowd in Connecticut that, Briana's been a part of your world in some level, even at conference, she was helping you on stage with things like that. So, Briana, I loved your story on the podcast about when they first started eWomen and they had their desks in that room above the garage or something. And that you got up at night and you were 5 and you'd go sleep between their desks just because you wanted to be near them. So essentially you've been on board since you were 5.
I mean, kind of, yeah, I guess you could say so.
Most 5-years-old go and sneak in bed with their parents. The problem is Kim and I weren't in bed. We would work while they were, sleeping. And so she, if she wanted to sleep with us, she'd have to come into our office. And Kim and I had our offices our desks facing each other. And there was this little gap in between because we had the printer so that we could each get up and, get the printer. So there was this gap there, and that Briana would bring her pillow and curl up and sleep there.
It was such a cute story. So Karen Jones, you guys know her. Karen has a question, just a quick one. What advice do you have for people who work with family in a family business? Do you have any practices to preserve your family relationships versus business relationships?
Well, one thing that comes to mind for me is that we each have our own sandbox, if you will. Right. And we kind of have this rule that, you don't come into my sandbox without either asking for permission or being invited. And I don't go into Briana's sandbox without asking for permission or being invited. I don't go into Kim's without asking for permission or being invited. And we all do that with each other. So we kind of believe that if we're all doing the same thing, then there's a whole lot of stuff that's not getting done and a lot of little stuff that's getting overdone. Right. So we believe in dividing and conquering kind of thing. And we respect each other's channels, if you will, of the business, even though I think all of us could kind of do each other's work in many ways, not to the extent, but we do know enough about what each other does that if we had a pitch hit, of course we could. But I think that's the big one. And then Briana, you have one about, it was really Briana that said, I need a way to differentiate between my parents, right, and my work partners.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the point that I started referring to you in the office as Sandra and Kim, which was weird for me. And I think everyone who knows us at first, but I had to compartmentalize between talking to my colleagues versus my parents, because the way that a daughter would talk to the parent is different than how you should talk to a colleague. And so for me, it really helped me show up in a more professional way and not cross any unprofessional tones or boundaries or lines that you wouldn't typically cross in an office. Because I do have a great relationship with my parents, and I can be really real with them. And when we're at home and we're disagreeing about something, there's going to be a different side of Briana than that's going to be in the office.
It should be, right?
And I know the same goes for them too, you know? And so having that, before I joined the company, my mom used to talk about how she would have her hat that she would metaphorically take on and off in the car. It was her wife hat when she was home versus her CEO hat in the office. And for me, having the different name structure kind of was my way of creating that line and creating that hat and
Right.
that definition. Yeah.
I love
When
that.
Briana comes into my office and she says, "Hey, Sandra, I want to run something by you," I know it's work related. When she
Right.
comes into my office and says, "Hey, Mom, I want to run something by you," I know it's, all about Brian's upcoming first birthday party or something. You know what I'm saying? It's kind
Yeah.
of, it's just this is a way of differentiating, which has proven to be, I think, pretty
Helpful.
bad. And I
Makes-
call Kim Babe at home, but I don't call him Babe in the office.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
the other thing that Brianna did really well is she corrected the staff. She stopped the staff from saying, "Hey, when you talk to your mom, will you?" You know what I mean? And she
Yeah.
was, "Oh, you mean when I talk to Sandra?"
Right.
And so the language, got real clear amongst everybody.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Brianna,
Well,
we have a question for you
hey,
from a
Kate.
listener. Yes, Kim.
So here's the other thing.
Okay.
What we're not talking about is things like tone of voice, body language, all those kinds of things
Right.
that you can have. You can roll your eyes, you can roll, and so we had to be very careful with that too. I know myself. At years of being in eWomen Network, you really learn you can't be responsive to everything, and you can't let everything show on your face. So you can't.
Mm.
So even if Brianna was feeling, let's say, some edge with me over something, we're both
Mhm.
creative, so we're going to have edges.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
you know but it was important that I don't you know say something or under my breath or in my body posture that would let another person on the team think, oh, there's trouble, between daughter and son,
Yeah.
or Sandra and Kim. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
these are the things, those little, again, eye rolls, those kinds of things that can come into play. And I
That
think
they
we
do
had,
as teenagers, but you can't do it when you're in a work
yeah.
environment.
Right. Right.
Right.
So we had to pay attention to that too.
Yeah, I love thanks for sharing that too. So Brianna, actually, it says LinkedIn user. It's actually Marky Reed asking this question.
Oh,
Brianna, will you talk
hello.
more about what you needed to learn, unlearn, or personally develop as you have embodied the role of co-CEO? Which I think is a term
Ah,
you've kind of been using, Sandra, a little bit more of an internal
Mhm.
term, maybe.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it hasn't
Yeah.
been formally laid out, but
Yeah.
it's kind of everything about this plan has been very organic and just sort of evolved into, and that's definitely what we're evolving into. And I'd say that for me, the first thing that pops into mind, there's a lot of evolutions, there's a lot of
Yeah.
learning and a lot of personal development that I think in the way that I show up and communicate that has definitely transformed over time. But one of the most specific things that I've had to really learn and lean into was and embody is when I first started my career, I was in the beauty industry. And then when I got into entrepreneurship, I always aligned myself with people who are really great with numbers because I always told myself this story that I'm not good with numbers. And
I can
I
relate.
always yes, and that was and I kind of just accepted like, oh, that's just not me. I'm just not good with numbers, so I better be with somebody who's great with numbers.
Yeah.
And what I've had to kind of unlearn is that story
Yeah.
and just really leaning in and getting better at numbers and really studying them and kind of getting obsessed with numbers because that is a critical skill I think as a CEO. And
Absolutely.
we are on our 10x journey in the company of 10xing this business. And in order to do that, we need to be looking at the metrics daily. And so I've had to really develop a liking for looking at the
Mhm.
numbers, knowing what they mean and what needs to change in order to get to that goal. And I think that that's a really important
Yeah. Well, you know what?
thing.
You bring up a good point, and you remind me of something in my journey. I was always a writer. I was always in the marketing, the journalism realm. And the reason I didn't do numbers is because I was really bad at math. And so I always had that mindset of like, well, I'm just bad at math. That's why I'm a good
Yeah.
writer.
Yeah.
And I will say that, for those of you who aren't familiar with eWomenNetwork, there's tiered levels of membership. And I was in their highest level membership for a year called Pinnacle in 2023 to 2024. And Sandra, working with you when we were working on aspects of my business, you were like, you need to learn to love your numbers. And while I'm still working on it, I am much better. I have much improved on paying attention, and it's helped me with my goals and my planning. So, if you're going to be the CEO, you've got to love your numbers. You got to learn to love your numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a
And
fact.
which ones are important and
Exactly.
which ones aren't. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And which ones influence the ones you want to grow, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
one thing to look at a number and say, I want that number to change. And it's another thing to know exactly what you need to do to make that happen.
Exactly. Right.
And so, yeah.
All right. So I want to switch gears here just a little bit. So for those of you who are just joining us or watching on the replay, thank you for watching the replay. I am interviewing founder and CEO Sandra Yancey of eWomenNetwork, Kim Yancey, co-founder and president, and Briana Dai, VP of Digital Innovation. And I have been involved in eWomenNetwork, and some of you who know me know that I talk about it all the time. Since 2019, and I've been through various different memberships, and I just love eWomenNetwork. It's just,
And we love you back.
We love you back, Kate.
and and it's really, truly an honor for me to have all three of you on my show. Like, I was even nervous for the last hour coming on.
I don't think we've ever done this.
I don't think we have either.
Really?
But besides our own podcast.
Well, that makes me happy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
You don't know until you ask, right?
That's
The
right.
answer is always no until you ask. You
That's
taught
right.
me that, Sandra. So anyway, I wanted to talk about the succession plan because one of the things that you mentioned back a while ago, and if I'm not supposed to bring this up, you can just nip it. But
Okay.
you had mentioned, I think from stage at Icon one time, that when you were thinking about the succession plan and you were starting to put it in place a few years ago, that Harvard had reached out to you about the succession plan piece and wanted to sort of like follow your journey, if you will. And then,
actually, I
don't know if I'm
initiated.
saying it right, but I remember you saying something about that.
I initiated it when I investigated and had a conversation with them that then started all of that, because I discovered that Harvard is doing a lot of work on succession planning because it's a crisis in our country.
Right.
We do not do a good job overall as a nation at preparing the next generation, and as a result, most businesses don't make it when the next generation takes over. And then I learned that it's really the degree to which you can put a staged process in place over time, the more likelihood you are to have success. And then I also then had a personal coach who had done the exact same thing. She had grown her business and she had worked a succession plan with her daughter and learned a lot of lessons, things that she thought were great and things that she would recommend doing differently. And so between those two things, I really leaned into, taking it very seriously, not a casual, we'll kind of just see how things go and give you a little experience here and a little experience there, but really putting a 10-year plan in place. That I have to say, someday I'll probably write about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think it's important to share, and it's complicated in families, and the changes that families go through. I mean, who Briana was when she first started, she's now a mother, a mother of two. She's gone through, a real, medical scare, and so, she's evolved and changed probably at this point more than I've evolved and changed, because she's in her 30s and that's the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just the time. So, I think that we've done a very good job at giving Briana influence and control and management of various aspects of the business. We started with what she does well, right? And then how she can do that at scale.
Right.
And start to develop a team, because you can't move on if you can't be replaced, right? So how does she begin to build a team around her? Because at first it was all her, right? And how does she manage a team, outsource versus direct reports internally, and all of those kinds of things, and then start to expand her into other roles and aspects of the business about every year to 18 months, some a little bit sooner than others, depending on the complexity.
Yes.
But then other things that become thematic through the entire time, like really getting her in all of the financial meetings, right? And the big financial decisions, and, getting her the little things, from getting her to, sign on she can sign on all the credit cards on all the, banks and all of
Right.
that, because she's a signature. It used to be just me and Kim,
Yep.
and now she's a signature on that as well. But also kind of knowing, we have a line of credit, and we have various different things that we're doing now with our technology and all of that. And so getting her thematically understanding the finance side of the business, not just reading the numbers, but running the business. They're
Right.
two very different things. How
Right.
you run the business defines a lot of what you see on those reports,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
got to learn how to run the business and make difficult decisions, and what to go for and what not to go for, what you need answers on in order to say yes, and what you're never going to have answers on, but you got to say yes.
Exactly.
The risks of things. So yeah.
Well, it's interesting, when I was, and again, I've known you for several years now. I've learned a lot of your stories. I hear a lot even when we were at the Platinum Summit a couple weeks ago, you shared a lot of things that I hadn't heard before. And one of the things that struck me on the podcast, and the name of their podcast is called She Means Millions. We'll put the link up there toward the end. And but Sandra, you're known as like the operations and the systems person, and Kim, you're the brilliant creative person, and Briana, you're because of what you're learning from your mom and what you already sort of innately know with your own creative genius, you're really becoming like this blend of the two of them. And I say that with respect. Would that be accurate?
That with respect. I think so. Even management style wise, I'm a kind of a blend between the two of them. So it's interesting how it's like, is it nature versus nurture? Is it a combination of both? I don't know, but I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well, so Kim,
she actually has binders now, Kate.
Oh, wow. Really? You know what?
Yeah.
Something else. It's funny. I used to do this, and then I'm like, oh, that's still a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so I have another question. So for Kim, from a brand and creative standpoint, because so much of some of your offerings for eWomen, are celebrity science. It's the videos for people doing different things. It's the intro videos, all the various things that you do, plus the branding and the marketing that you do for eWomenNetwork. So from a brand and creative standpoint, how do you think about preserving the essence of eWomenNetwork while also allowing it to evolve under new leadership to come?
Well, I mean, Brianna's involved in it. First of all, we're collaborating a lot, on the direction, the look, we have time that we spend together where we just strategize on what needs to be there, but you've got to evolve. I mean, I tell everybody, we evolve or get evicted. I mean, the customer is going to leave us, they need to see fresh, and I rely on a lot of the stuff that comes to me naturally from being in music the way I was for so many years. I don't know if you remember, Kate, one of my favorite stories is when we got our gold album, the president of Capitol Records said to me specifically, says, Kim, every year there's 1,000 I Love You songs that come out. And no matter what the beat is, no matter what the beat and the rhythm and the melody is, somewhere in that song, they're saying, I love you. And the world wants to hear a new one every year, and the same thing applies to our branding and marketing. And I think about that with eWomenNetwork, the things that we've got to do, the things we've got to do to stay fresh, the things that we do to reflect the stage of life, company life, personal life, the stages that we're going through along with our members. So, what's really nice for me is that we have a very verbal communication link with having managing directors around the country that give us feedback from members in the different programs we're in. So we're getting, feedback all the time, but you can't, let me tell you something. We've got to run to stay up with it like McDonald's and Starbucks, this from being, in this creative field as well. If they could do it with one commercial, they would. They can't.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll just do one commercial. And that'll fix it. It doesn't work
and
that
Kim
way.
used to do jingles, people. He used to have a very successful advertising agency in Ohio, so he knows all about jingles. He can even sing them.
But
That's my favorite one, though. I love that guy.
I know. Yep. Yep.
No,
Yep.
but my point is as you know, our brand has to evolve and shift and the way it feels and the impact that it's having. I mean, here's the other thing. It's it isn't just about a pretty picture or a pretty logo. I mean,
Right.
it's all the stuff under it. You know what I mean?
The
That
strategy.
counts. That makes a difference. Yeah.
Mhm. Right. Exactly.
So yeah.
Thanks. So we have a ton of questions. So I want to highlight some here. So we heard from Marky. We got Julie Spear watching. We got
Julie.
Kathy Riley in Denver saying yay to binders. And Vivian Villers is asking, what advice would you give to someone who would be considering a non-family member for a succession plan? That's a really great question.
Mm.
Well, the process is all the same, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, they have to learn the business. I mean, your succession plan really is a commitment to your legacy. If
Yeah.
not, I mean, you could sell the business, but if you want to keep the business going, right, then you need to make sure you've got the right person. So it's not just skill and it's not just will, because there's a lot of people that, have a lot of drive for something. They don't have the skill and a lot of things can be taught, no doubt about it,
Right.
but you can get people that have a lot of great skill and charisma, but it's not a match for your client base. And so you
Mhm.
need to know that. So there's a lot to know about culture.
Mhm.
And I think that can't be underestimated
Right.
in terms of how your client base is going to receive. There's also, I believe, an introductory process. I mean, you just think about how much we have woven Brianna's presence into
Oh,
everything
it's
that we
brilliant.
do. Yeah. So
It
when
takes
the
time.
time, yeah, when the
It
time,
does take time, but when the change happens, like everybody's gonna be comfortable with her.
it
Like
will be
it's gonna be
seamless.
so natural. It's gonna be
Mhm.
seamless.
And
Yeah, I
eventually
think
you'll see that she'll be more present and
Yeah.
I'll be more secondary, and then
Right.
I'll be, and then I'll be, and then I'll be, right? And
Right.
if we do that right, that is, the handoff, right?
Right.
It's a gradual thing that looks seamless to the customer base.
Right.
I think that's the
So
main difference between succession and selling,
right.
right? Because with succession isn't just about a title change, it's really about a trust transfer.
Right.
And so we've had to be very intentional about the transfer of trust,
Mhm.
and that is a process that takes years.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just think the way you guys have done it, especially from being on the other side of it, and granted, I know a little bit just from being in various communities, but it's and I, the banter in the room or the people are always going, God, this is so great. Like everybody's connecting to you, Brianna, and respecting you, and you're finding your own message and your own style and your own approach. And yet, the three of you together, I think people love to look at eWomen now and say out loud, this is a family business. I'm in a women's entrepreneurial membership community and it's a family business. Like how cool is that? I think people really cherish that.
Yeah. And I personally think that people are learning just by watching
Yes.
not only how we're managing the business for 26 years,
Right.
you know what I mean, from the internet bust to the market crash to COVID to, you know what I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
We've had, 3 Democrat presidents and 3 Republican presidents, and no matter who's in the presidency, we
Right.
got to figure it out, kind of thing.
Exactly.
And I think people are not only paying attention and watching that just because of the amount of years we've been in business and the consistent growth and the constant innovation, but now they've got this other layer of the watching the succession plan that I think people find valuable,
Exactly.
and I'm thankful for that. We become a living microcosm on a whole nother level.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
created a whole new dynamic. What do you want to say, Kim?
Well, here's the big thing. We're Sandra and I especially. I mean, Brianna too. But you can listen to what they say, but watch what they do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
exactly.
that whole question around just if you're considering a non-family member, first of all, right off the bat, why would you be considering a non-family member? It's because that non-family member is showing you something that the family member isn't.
Right.
You
Right.
got what I'm
Exactly.
saying? They're
Hmm.
showing it to you. It's in your face. It's plain as day. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So you do have to pay attention to those things. That's what again when Brianna says she wanted to do this, come into the company on the creative side. I was, so adamant in making sure. I mean, we went into the conference room, shut the doors, just you and I just looked at her and said, "Man, you got to explain to me why you want to do this, why you want to do this," because I had to hear the right things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm. Well, you
It's
had to
like
be
a job
discerning. I
interview.
mean,
Attention.
you had to be
Watch
discerning
what
on
people
what she
say.
was going to say. Yeah.
Here's a little
Yeah.
scoop I've never
Yeah.
shared, I think. I don't think I've shared. I don't recall sharing it anyway. And that is that when we made when we made the official decision that she was going to be on a succession plan to take over the business, my advisory council told me not to mention it to the managing directors.
Oh
They
yeah.
Really?
told me not to do it. They told me they thought that there would be a mass exodus, that people wouldn't. Huh? Yeah.
Wow.
Remember Brianna and Kim?
Yeah.
They
That
said, "Don't do
surprises
it.
me.
Wait till you've got years in it where it kind of looks like, hey, it looks like something's happening here, where it's kind of self-evident, and then just
Yeah.
simply acknowledge it." And
Hmm.
I remember being on the stage at the conference that year. We formally made the decision in the spring, and then the conference comes in the summer. And I was very aware of that tape of don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But I will tell you, there was something that happened on me on the opening kind of keynote message where I'm always talking about where I think small business is going and
Right.
what eWomen Network is doing to model how we watch the mega trends, we lean into the mega trends, we learn, and then we teach everything that we learn, kind of thing. And I just had this moment like, how can I have this conversation and have made this huge decision and then not say it? And I blurted it out on that stage,
Y-
in the opening
Yeah.
message.
How did it go, Sandra? Yeah, Brianna is going to be the CEO.
Yeah.
We got big plans for Brianna. She's going to be the CEO.
Oh, that's funny. So, Brianna,
They were
Christy
the
Lee,
audience, the eyeball. I didn't even want to look at
I'm
them. I
sorry.
didn't even look where they were.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It was
I
the
never
right
knew that
thing, though,
story
Kate.
before.
It was the right thing.
Yes,
It was the
exactly.
right thing.
Yep,
You have to be
absolutely.
careful all the advice you get sometimes,
I know, I know. So, Christy Lee, who's a member of eWomen, and she's in the Phoenix chapter, but she's also my executive assistant for 3
Oh,
years, and I love her.
oh,
So she
Christy.
asked you an interesting question, Brianna, kind of on the whole family thing. Brianna, are you raising Tati with a different perspective on potentially coming into the family business? Now, granted, I know Tati's only 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm sure
It's
you must have
hilarious.
these little visions sometime.
Actually, I haven't. I
Okay.
haven't gotten that far. I'm raising her
Yeah.
to be whoever she wants to be. I think
Right.
my job right now is just to expose her to everything and see what she gravitates to. And if a woman network is what she gravitates to naturally, amazing. And if
Yeah.
not, my job is just to
Yep.
empower her to be the best of whatever it is she wants to be. But I mean, she will be interning. I think those are great life skills. I
Yep.
think that coming and learning how to file files and alphabetize and
Oh my
use
God.
an
Swag
Excel
bags.
document
Swag bag.
with stuffing swag bags and putting ribbons on badges. Like those are really great,
Yep.
developmental, skills. And so
Yeah.
yeah, she'll definitely be involved in some capacity because that's just what you
It's fun
do
to
with
watch her though,
family.
Brianna. She's been behind stage when you've been on stage, and she's like, "I
Yeah.
want to do that."
She
You
loves
know?
she
I have
definitely
little
wants
video
to be on
snippets
stage.
of every year that she's come on stage at the end of conference. I mean, coming out and this just in 5 years, just seeing the
I
change.
know.
There was one time she came out and grabbed the microphone. Then there's another year she was like,
Super
hugging into Travis,
shy.
her father.
Yeah. Yep. And then this year she came out and she did a spin and she was like, I'm here, and so she's definitely coming into her own. And she loves attention and she loves the stage. And so that part is fun to watch, and so we'll see. But I have no intention right now of grooming her to
Right.
take over the business. I
That
just want to
completely makes sense.
see who she wants to be.
I
Yeah.
do. I have very much. If she comes into my office, I say, "This is going to be your office one day. Sit in my chair, Tatiana. How do you like this?" Grandmothers get to say whatever they want.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Julie Spear has a question. It may have been addressed, but we'll just bring it forefront here. How does your family define legacy, and how is that vision guiding your succession planning process? So I think this is around like legacy. Like maybe Sandra, once you sort of pass the torch, if you will, how are you going to react to that?
I'm excited for it. I mean, I really am. I have to tell you, I think people think that when I pass the torch to Brianna, I'm disappearing. I'm
Right.
not disappearing. I'm just not going to run the business.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of work. I think
Yeah.
people would be kind of shocked to know how much of my time is spent just running this engine,
Yes.
and especially on the 10x growth plan. It's massive, and there's lots of changes, and there's things to grow this fast that we see little cracks, and so we're leaning in to fix them. There's things we're like, this is going to crack, so let's just break it now and fix it. There's just a lot of stuff going on. I think I will be really ready when Brianna is ready to pass the torch to her. I think she is going to be fantastic. I mean, I really think she is going to be fantastic. It's what makes me excited. And I do know that the one thing that when I think about legacy, our legacy is very clear. It's our mission: 1 million
Right.
women, each achieving $1 million in annual revenue. My guess is that by the time I am ready to pass the torch, we won't have achieved that quite yet. But what I also know is Brianna is, 10,000% as much as Kim and myself on board with that mission. And
Mhm.
legacy is that, what you dream to accomplish, that moonshot, you've got somebody else willing to say, pass the baton, I'm ready, I'm on my way with that too.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt whatsoever that Brianna will do that, and she will do exceptional. And in many ways, I hope and pray that she will be. I mean, the goal is that she is better than me. That's the goal, right? That we lift her
Right.
from. She's got our experiences, and now she can take all of her brilliance, everything that she knows, and we're listening to her more and more and more, and following her guidance. So she's developing not only the chops but the confidence,
Hmm.
because so many of her suggestions have been so spot on,
Right.
that it'll be really seamless, and we will see those million women making $1 million in annual
Exactly.
revenue. I
Sure
mean,
will.
to me, like,
Well,
yeah,
what I love about Brianna coming in is that, she's bringing in she's going to be attractive to a younger age group too. So, we've got all ages in
yeah,
eWomen, but I
yeah,
just think that it's just another fresh perspective. She's
yeah,
going to bring a different view, and that's healthy. That's a good
yeah.
thing.
And she's
So,
getting older. I mean, I feel
yeah.
like people think that she's still,
Yeah,
a 20-something millennial. I mean,
What are you,
Brianna's gonna.
35 now? 34, 35?
I'm 35.
35. Because I remember we celebrated your 33rd in Dallas in December of
Hmm.
23. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Kim, do you want to say anything about the legacy piece?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to take a minute. You know, y- you know what that's called, Kate? You know what that's called?
What
It's
that's it?
called
What's a
it's called product placement. I just
product?
there we go. That's better
Well,
than that's better than any commercial right there.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
Always marketing, always marketing.
Always
Sees
marketing.
everything with a marketing eye.
It's
Yep.
it's fun. Let me tell you, um, what eWomen Network is about is it's a lot of fun. I mean, don't make no mistake about it. I mean, in terms of we're busy, but man, it is impactful work. And
Sure is.
in terms of the legacy, just expanding the joy behind the work, creating more joy for the members, yeah, developing new concepts, I mean, there's a lot of new things that we have planned, you know what I mean, and
Mhm.
that we flush out. But the legacy for me is that giving stays at the center of it, and that you know there's a platform. I mean, you know we run on a eWomen Network is built on a platform. There's a system, there's a process, there are things happening, the whole managing director growth. I mean, all of that's happening, you know uh, not organically, but with we got a very strong individual, Debbie Page, driving that in the training. And so everything we're doing, just how do we systemize it where it makes sense, but at the same time keep the closeness and the character of the relationships, and what relationships really mean as it relates to long-term growth and sustainability.
Right.
Are you, to use one of Sandra's words, are you tracking with me?
You Oh my gosh, I said that in my group program the other day. I go, "You tracking with me?" And 2 people in the group looked at me and they're like, "You sound like Sandra." I was like, I didn't even realize I said it.
Yeah.
All right. So Gail Stevens, who's also an eWomen, she just made a comment, but succession planning, even in selling a business, still carries forward the brand, trust, and impact / legacy of what business is, of what that business has become over time, for continuity for the clientele and the community. So yeah. Good comment. All right. So I wanted to just kind of follow up a little bit with sort of next steps. Like, Briana, I just want to know, like, what are you excited about? Like, what, when you think about, like, whenever this happens in 2, 3, 4 years, whatever, like when you sort of visualize that day, like, what are you excited about?
I mean, I'm excited to see what the future holds. I think my role in this whole legacy continuation isn't to copy what's worked. It's to maintain it's to maintain the mission and to keep the mission, but just modernize the method. And we're in a really exciting time right now with so much unfolding around artificial intelligence. And so I think the future of eWomenNetwork is going to really shift with technology, because the technology is changing everything, and it's going to flip businesses upside down if they don't evolve with it. So our evolution, I'm not even totally clear on what that next step is yet. I just know that we're moving towards it and making some big shifts and big changes. And I think that that's going to be the thing that is going to make us a global business. No doubt about it. We're already global, but truly across every continent, chapters in every single continent and province and state and all of the places, villages, you name it, will be there.
I agree. I think technology is just going to help make that happen in a human way, like, because I know that's so important. So
you know what, Kate? The thing though is, and you know this, garbage in, garbage out.
Right,
I mean, technology is only as good. I mean, you can put the hammer in somebody's hand. It doesn't mean they're going to build a wonderful multi-million-dollar masterpiece. You know what I mean? They could be building a shack, right? I mean, so while I'm in love with the tools and all of that, but I'm also keenly aware that skill, strategy, all of that goes into it, and it's evolving in lightning speed.
Yeah. The AI tool that doesn't exist yet, that if no one launches it, then we're going to have to develop it, because it's part of our future. When I think about AI, it's not replacing us, but it is real-time translation. Like, how can we be on a CEO Plus call and have a real-time translate to whatever language it needs to be in?
Yep.
Like, that's how we're going to do,
actually.
right? I mean, and like, why does that not exist yet? It feels like it should. They have the headphones that you can plug in when you're traveling to translate people. And so I feel like we're close, but I mean, that's the kind of thinking that I'm starting to process in terms of our duplication with the help of technology, with the help of AI, so that we can reach more people in more languages at more times and things like that.
And what did Mark Cuban say, Sandra? We were, in other words, we are a live event company, and man, our live person-to-person, face-to-face events going to be more important than ever.
Yes.
Yeah, he was just quoted in Inc. magazine, January 26th, on a whole story about how he's investing in live event businesses, because he's a huge AI fan. But he just said, in 3 years, we're not going to know digitally what's real and what isn't. And what we're going to need to do is be, I always say, the more you shake, the more you make, right? You're going to have to be out in front of people, and they're going to have to meet you to know that you're a real person. And that's going to be more important than ever.
Well, when I started this iteration of my business in 2014 for Standing Out Online, and I was, it was originally, I was sort of doing like LinkedIn profile makeovers. Well, that all shifted, thank goodness, because it was deeper than that. But the one thing I brought to that in the very beginning was to bring that little piece of your story in.
Yes.
And AI wasn't even a thing then, but it's because you're showing up as a human, not as a bio.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not as a resume. And so when I was at the Platinum Summit and listening to you and Briana, you did a great presentation on the AI. And I can't remember, Briana, if it was you or Sandra that talked about how we're in a trust recession right now.
Yeah.
And that being real and being human, and really, you can use these AI tools, but you still have to bring yourself to it. You still need to
Yes.
bring your persona and your
And
personality.
it better match.
Exactly. And it has
Not-
to sound like who you are when you walk up to them and shake their hand.
Exactly.
Exactly. And
Because
I have
nothing's going to break trust more than you coming across one way through
exactly
because of Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude or whatever is your,
right.
poison of choice in terms of AI. And then they meet you and there's this disconnect,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So one final comment here, and then we'll wrap up. I just want to find out some next things. Diane Kelly just made a comment. Mindset for the owner is critical. So many owners can't give up the control and protect their baby. I tell them you have to cut the umbilical cord. And the reason I wanted to highlight this one is because, Kim, on your recent podcast, you were talking about how your business is your baby.
Baby, yeah.
So anyway, we've had so many people joining us today, and I'm so grateful. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. So Sandra, I'm going to ask a similar question like I asked Briana, and then you too, Kim. What are you excited about, or what are you nervous about?
Well, I mean, truthfully, when we made this declaration to 10x the business in 1,000 days, 2 years and 9 months, it is a story of reiterating that it's never about how. I mean, you can't make a decision because I don't know how to do it. We certainly did not know how to do this, and we're getting a lot of help. But I will tell you that it is a real right here to me about how you have to spend money to make money. And I am a little surprised at how much money it is taking for us to 10x the business, because we need new tools, new resources, our technology. We're investing, yet another 6 figures into that. We, the people aspect of it, all of the systems and things that need to be done. So new ways to manage the business, new technologies that we're having to adopt. Just all the things. It's a lot. It's really really a lot. It's not just you can't 10x by just going faster.
Right.
Yeah,
And doing more.
Yeah, you have to really manage the business differently. When we said, we wanted to bring on 8 managing directors a month, that has a whole nother trigger of how we hire, we interview, we get them to the next interview. That's already changing now. How we make the offers, how we onboard them, completely brand new now. In terms of how we onboard, how we're training them. We have a bunch of them here right now this week in our conference room, learning through our HPT, high performance training, how we train them, what we're training them on, what the measures are. Our focus is lead to conversion. That's the number one strategy to move faster in everything that you do. What does that mean for different areas of the business? So I think that I'm excited about it, but it's also been like, whoa, man, this is really a lot. But you also can't partly do it. You can't kind of do it. You can't half do it. You're either in or you're out. So I mean, we've jumped in both feet, deep end. It's cold right now. We haven't adjusted to the coldness, and so that has surprised me, scared me, and excited me, all three.
Well, and you're modeling this for those of us who are watching this in the background. I mean,
because our 10xing is public.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
not like we can quietly be
that's
back
a little
here.
different, isn't it? Yeah.
You'll know.
What about you, Kim? What are you excited about when the?
I'm excited about the new things that I'm learning and the new innovation. I mean, everything is, this is a trite word anymore, but game changer. I mean, everything is changing. And I'm a producer, and I look forward to doing more unique things with Sandra and producing her, helping Briana producing her. It's behind the curtain, so to speak, and some of the things that we're doing and things to new ideas with the foundation, new things that we want to do with the foundation. I can't talk about right now, but some new expansive things that we want to do. So it's I love the unlimited possibilities. That's what I really love. You know what I mean? And
it's exciting.
it is. It's very exciting. Very
All
excited.
right. Well, for those of you who are joining us, I want to, Jim, if you can put up some of the links. So I wanted to let everybody know that they should definitely be following your new podcast, which is excellent. She Means Millions, and there's the link there too. She Means Millions podcast.com. If you want to learn more, if you're not in eWomen and you want to learn more about eWomenNetwork, you can go to their website at eWomenNetwork.com. And there is a contact form there if you're looking for more information, whether you want to be a member or whether you might even want to be a managing director. And also, one thing I noticed when I went to your website the other day is you have a really interesting little quiz on your homepage. What's your path to 7 figures quiz? So I put the URL there for you too, if they want to
That's so
take a
kind.
look
It's
about
great.
that.
It's
So-
juicy. It's
Yeah,
juicy.
it is
Yeah.
juicy.
Mhm.
So anyway,
all
I just
cool.
want to I want to thank you, 3 of you, so much. You mean a lot to me. Your friendship means a lot to me. You've mentored me. I wouldn't be where I am in my business if it wasn't for all of you. And I'm just really grateful. This means the world that you took this much time to spend
love
time
you,
with
Kate.
me and my audience. So thank
We
you very
love
much.
you.
We love you.
Thank you very much. One final little, wait, there's just another one little gratitude here. Gail just said, so grateful for all 3 of you, Sandra, Kim, and Briana, and for Kate, the strategic impact you are creating in many significant ways. So
sweet.
anyway, thank you all. Maybe just raise your, little goodbye thing here.
Kim, here we go.
Here we go.
Not for now.
Hey, can I share a quick story? This is funny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I started doing my podcast, which I wanted to be like at the time, Facebook Live was the only live video. LinkedIn didn't even have it. This was back, I don't know, 9-10 years ago. So LinkedIn started having the feature of uploading a 10-minute, no longer than a 10-minute native video. So I was doing 8-minute shows. So I created Coffee with Kate, thinking that LinkedIn Live or some version of that's going to come down the pike, and I want to be ready to go. So I literally it was my old logo. I had these mugs made, and I sent them to all my guests. And so I started doing it from the get-go. They were
So
8-minute interviews, and then it grew into this. So
great.
Wow.
What a great story. I love it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
great.
So
Love what
please
you're
stay
doing.
online. We're going to end this stream here, and thank you all again, and thank you all for watching on the replay too.